Hello and welcome to IAMC Radio and Podcast. Today we're exploring understanding our history, looking into the ancient Egyptian concept of Maat and its really profound influence on their society, their beliefs, and maybe most importantly, their idea of truth and justice.
Absolutely. And right away, what's so striking is this list, these 42 laws of Maat. It suggests a very concrete ethical framework, not just vague feelings about right and wrong.
Exactly. It wasn't just a general sense of morality. These laws, they give us such a detailed window, don't they?
They really do. They offer this incredible insight into the ethical consciousness of ancient Egyptians. And these weren't just, abstract rules. They were woven into their understanding of the cosmos, their daily lives, and crucially, the afterlife.
So kind of like a personal checklist for living right.
Pretty much, yeah. A personal code of conduct, affirmations of integrity, which is why they're also called the negative confessions.
Right. The negative confessions or declarations of innocence.
Yeah.
That name itself is interesting. Why negative?
Well, it highlights that these weren't commands from a god, like, thou shalt not. Instead, they were statements individuals hoped to make after death. Things like, I have not done this, I have not done that. You're declaring your innocence by listing the wrongs you avoided.
Okay. So it's about personal accountability, proving you lived in harmony with Maat.
Precisely. Maat being, of course, the personification of truth, justice, cosmic order, the whole foundation.
So this focus is on what you refrain from doing. That feels distinct.
It is. It puts the onus on the individual's choices throughout life.
Okay, so let's get a feel for these laws. What kind of things are we talking about? What did they cover?
It's surprisingly broad. You start with very general commitments like, I've not committed sin, a foundational statement.
A catch-all almost?
Kind of, yeah. But then it gets very specific, reflecting real-world concerns. I have not committed robbery with violence, emphasizing peace, respecting others' safety.
Okay, makes sense.
I have not stolen. Basic respect for property, crucial for any society.
Standard stuff, but fundamental.
And I have not slain men or women. The sanctity of life, obviously paramount.
These feel universal. Were there any that specifically point towards this idea of truth and justice we mentioned?
Oh, definitely. I have not told lies is a big one. Truthfulness is seen as absolutely essential for harmony.
Can't have order without truth.
Exactly, and it goes further. I have not falsely accused anyone. That speaks directly to the integrity of, their justice system, even back then.
Protecting reputation, ensuring fairness in accusations, that's quite advanced.
It really is, and consider, I have not closed my ears to truth.
Ooh, that's subtle. Not just being truthful, but being receptive to truth.
Yes. Being willing to listen, to acknowledge reality. It's fundamental for any kind of just interaction or judgment.
That's fascinating. Any others that give us a unique insight into their values?
Well, I've not made anyone cry. Always stands out to me.
Wow. That emphasizes compassion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Emotional impact.
Immensely. It values empathy and minimizing harm to others' feelings. Then there's, I have not taken food from a child. Protecting the vulnerable, a key measure of a society's ethics.
Absolutely.
And even, I have not polluted the water. It suggests an awareness of their environment, the interconnectedness of things.
An early form of environmental ethics, perhaps.
You could certainly see it that way. It shows a practical concern for the world around them and how their actions affected it.
And the core idea remains, these are personal affirmations. I have not. It really centers individual responsibility for upholding Maat.
Exactly. The collective harmony, the truth and justice of society starts with the individual.
Now, Maat wasn't just this abstract concept or list of laws. She was personified, right, as a goddess.
Yes, Maat the goddess embodied all these principles. Truth, balance, justice, cosmic order.
How did she fit into the bigger picture with the other major gods? Was she solely linked to one?
No, and that's what's so interesting. Her principles were upheld by several key deities, showing just how central Maat was to their entire worldview.
Okay, give us some examples.
Well, let's start at the top. Ra, or Red. The sun god, the supreme deity.
Right.
Ra's daily journey across the sky was seen as maintaining cosmic order. And Maat, she was the essence of that order. She provided the stability, the predictability that Ra upheld. They were intrinsically linked.
So Ra enforces the order, but Maat is the order.
A good way to think about it. Then you have Thoth, god of wisdom, writing, knowledge.
The record keeper.
Exactly. He recorded the balance of the universe. And crucially, he played a key role in the afterlife judgment. You know the famous scene, the weighing of the heart?
Against the feather of Mot, yes.
Well, Thoth was the one who recorded the result. He ensured that divine justice, which is essentially Mot's justice, was accurately determined and documented.
So Mati's feather was the literal standard against which a life's truth and justice were measured.
Precisely, the ultimate measure of integrity.
And who presided over this judgment?
That would be Osiris, god of the underworld. He presided in the Hall of Two Truths, sometimes just called the Hall of Mot. But while Osiris was the judge, or perhaps the overseer, it was Mot's principles that determined entry into the blessed afterlife. Your conformity to Mot decided your fate.
So Osiris rules the realm, but Mot holds the keys, in a sense.
In a very real sense, yes. Your entire afterlife depended on having lived according to Mot, according to truth and justice.
It really drove home the importance of ethical living during life. It wasn't just an earthly concern.
Absolutely fundamental. It connected their earthly actions directly to their eternal fate.
Okay, so that's the divine framework. How did this translate down to earth, particularly to the rulers, the kings?
The rulers were seen as the earthly guarantors of Mot. Their primary job, their divine mandate, was to maintain truth, justice, and order throughout the kingdom.
And we often call them pharaohs, but you mentioned that's not always accurate.
Right, pharaoh became common later, but especially in earlier periods, rulers had specific titles reflecting their divine connections and roles. But whatever the title, the core duty remained: uphold Mot.
How do they do that, practically speaking?
Through laws, judgments, ensuring prosperity, performing the correct rituals, making offerings to the gods. All these actions were seen as contributing to the balance of Mot on Earth.
So their political power was completely intertwined with this religious and ethical duty.
Completely. A successful reign, one with peace and prosperity, was proof the ruler was maintaining Mot. Chaos or famine could be seen as a failure in that duty. Their legitimacy depended on it.
Given Mot is truth and justice, this must have profoundly shaped their actual legal system.
Oh, absolutely. Mot was the foundation of Egyptian law and justice. It was a system rooted in fairness, truth, equity concepts that feel very modern but were central then.
So justice wasn't just about applying rules, but about achieving Mot.
Yes. Justice was seen as a sacred duty. Judges, often priests associated with Mot, weren't just arbiters, they were representatives of her principles. Their goal in settling disputes was to restore balance, to ensure the outcome reflected Mot, reflected truth and fairness.
Bringing harmony back to the community through just decisions.
Exactly. Administering justice was an act of upholding Mot in the world.
Now, later on, the god Amun becomes incredibly important,
Yeah.
king of the gods. How did he fit into this picture with Mot and kingship?
That's a great question. Amun started as a local Theban god, associated with air, sort of hidden power. But especially in the New Kingdom, he rose to prominence, merging with Ra to become Amun-Ra, a supreme creator god.
Did he replace Mot?
No, not at all. Instead, his power became intertwined with Mot. Kings would emphasize their connection to Amun, calling themselves son of Amun, to legitimize their rule further. It was like saying, my rule is sanctioned by the highest creator god, and therefore I am the rightful upholder of Mot.
So Amun's authority reinforced the king's role as the guardian of truth and justice.
Precisely. Maintaining Mot became seen as fulfilling the will of Amun-Ra. All the king's duties, religious, political, judicial, were framed within this relationship. The massive temples built for Amun, like Karnak, were monuments to this connection. Divine power, royal authority, and the enduring principles of Mot working together.
It's just incredible how Mot permeates everything: personal ethics, religion, law, politics. A unifying concept.
It really is. It provided this remarkable framework, this commitment to truth, justice, and harmony that underpinned their civilization for millennia.
Those 42 laws, the negative confessions, they aren't just a list. They're a testament to a society deeply invested in these ideals.
Absolutely. They offer us such valuable insights into a moral and ethical system that really shaped one of the world's great ancient cultures, a constant striving for balance and righteousness.
A powerful legacy of seeking truth and justice. Until next time, thank you for listening to Understanding Our History.